Adventure can be so big sometimes that containing it to just one world is simply impossible. So we set out into the cosmos searching for that which cannot be restricted by one galaxy. But then again, isn't this fantasy month? Well, are not strange planets the same as distant realms? Are not impossible machines nuanced with the old magic from fantastical tales? And are not alien races the same or as good as elves and trolls and even hobbits running through the forest? Maybe the location of the fantasy doesn't dismiss it being fantasy. Perhaps when you have space druids with mind controlling powers and black hole gateways, space is simply a backdrop for a broader fantasy. Tonight we'll be discussing the otherworldly elements of a genre we like to call space opera. Right here on Dispatches from Outside the Box.
In the spaces, things exist. In the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the ripples of imagination are the particles and peripherals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, and listen. Dispatch from outside the box.
Everybody. I'm C Michael Lanning, independent artist and Matt Scribbler. Before we meet our panel, make sure that you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell icon, and tell a friend all about us so we can join in on the discussion as well. So, of course, we are talking about space opera tonight with our panel. Let's get started. Randy, introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, everybody. I'm Randy Zimmerman. I'm a longtime alternative and independent comics creator, publisher, and everything in this business. I love comics, love space opera as well. And you'll see me on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. for the Zimcast and Sunday mornings, if you're able to get up that early, or catch us on the Ragin 2 network for the Sunday Funnies at 9 a.m., where we talk about the comics that we love.
Of course, I've kind of run out of R things to call you, Randy, so that's
that's fine. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah. Hello. Oh, my goodness. Hello, everybody. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I've been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the funny animal fantasy adventure Tall Tales, now on Kickstarter, and my medieval fantasy soap opera drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, on pre-launch on Kickstarter. I am also co-host with Nita Lanning on Ragin 2 The Vlogs every Monday and Friday on the Ragin 2 network. And you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and eagleworks.com, EGOWRKS. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics on YouTube at Daphne Lage Art, which is also simulcast through the Ragin 2 network. And I am here representing the ultimate space opera, my Benny Gesserit, which is here from Dune. Shout out Frank.
I'm glad you said what that was. I couldn't make it out.
At the mission area
And I didn't want to stare. So.
Yeah, I know. So the ultimate of all space operas.
All right,
agree.
Mitch, go ahead and
Yes.
introduce yourself, sir.
I am Mitch Rogers. I am an independent creator, writer, and artist. My books are The Boger and the Flesh and Blood Collection, and you can find my online comics or my web comics at tapastic.com. And what's the other one? Global Graphics or no Global Comics. I have to look it up, but yeah,
Global Comics.
they're online.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome.
Links are in the show notes.
Yeah. Right. Why do you put everybody's name up? I don't know why. It's one of those days. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jared. Tell them who you are.
That's my name, Jared. I'm just a big all-around nerd. I love all things pop culture. Space opera is pretty awesome. I'm here to learn some stuff and listen and have fun.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. I want to read this definition of what a space opera is, and I'm kind of disappointed that there's no music in this. It's a novel, movie, or television program set in outer space, typically of a simplistic and melodramatic nature.
Wait. Where did you get that definition?
Where did I
Google.
get? Off the internet? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Off the internet?
A dubious source.
Exactly what I read 5 minutes ago.
See, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Did you also read what it said underneath? It has a quote that says, "I associate the idea of space opera with appallingly bad writing."
Oh, brother, who sucks already?
Wow.
Again, where did
Writing
you
that,
get
who
this?
sucks
Where did you
already?
get this definition from? That they've exiled comic strips in comics. Not
Like,
even
well, Ranger 2 will answer it.
Wikipedia.
Right.
Great.
How did they?
Somebody go up there and change that now before
Yeah.
too many people get the wrong impression about space opera. What a
No,
shameful
really.
thing to
Let's
do.
say, no, this is it's powered by Oxford Languages, so you know it has a
Google.
Google.
Same thing with Google. Jeez, there's
No.
space opera really started in the pulp magazines and the comic strips.
So, what is space opera to you, Randy? What is it? Is it good writing? Essentially good writing, or
It's phenomenal, right? Well, there's some schlocky stuff.
yeah,
out
there's
there,
some
absolutely.
stuff, but no, I would
Considering
never.
the source, it's
Look,
you just had
95%
Buck
of
Rogers
everything.
on your
Right.
little video clip.
Yeah.
I mean the TV Buck Rogers, not the comic strip Buck.
Right.
Buck
Right,
Rogers.
right.
But it really started as escapist literature off of the pulp magazines, then the comic strips and comic books. Well, maybe comic strips, pulps, and then comic books in that order. And then the other media came along and picked it up after that. A lot of space opera elements are in the Saturday afternoon serials that they used to run in the theaters, where you run from like cliffhanger to cliffhanger, trouble spot to trouble spot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
If you sit and read the early Buck Rogers and Flash Gordons, well, the Buck Rogers a lot of times had definite endings to it, but Flash Gordon by Alex Raymond was just one great big long narrative of your typical. Well, it's opera elements in a science fiction setting. That's the easiest way you can describe it.
Also, the thing is too is that how come like in this past couple of weeks, every time you read something on Wikipedia about the definition, there's always some jack off there talking about, oh, I associate this with bad writing. Like, how about you just have really shitty taste?
Probably
Taste making those definitions is what
you
it is.
know, I mean, it's like really, it's like space opera doesn't mean. And look, 95% of everything is crap. You know, but the thing is, that doesn't mean that it's like there's nothing good about it, because honestly, it's like space opera puts the opera.
Right.
It's space opera.
Well, yeah, no, and see that I don't quite understand why they would feel the need to put something
Because
horrendous
they're being assholes. That's why they always got to be like, oh, this is not real literature. This is not real anything. It's like, shut up. You don't know what a real anything is.
Not to bring up fantasy, but they're being trolls.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way for the whoever's making the definition to feel more superior by judging literature for one form or another. The guy making the definition is an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I mean, I'm sure that there is, but recall most of anything being appallingly bad writing. Why would you have to put that adjective on there?
Right, yeah, because it's like because what it is that they're probably basing it on like, I don't know, whatever crappy straight to VHS movies that they grew up on, and they
Sci-Fi
think
channel.
everything is like that. You're right,
Space
exactly.
Truckers.
Would you call Dune bad writing?
Yeah, I know,
Seriously.
right?
Seriously.
Seriously. You
Most
know?
of
I mean,
Babylon 5 bad writing. You
it's
gotta
like,
be
look,
joking.
Flash Gordon the movie. It's like,
I would
yeah,
say
I will
Babylon
fight. I
5
will
is bad.
fight people over that
Would
movie.
you really?
It's like,
Good movie.
it's like, look, it's supposed to be really over the top. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like, okay, it's like it's corny or whatnot, but the movie is supposed to be like that.
No, the
I mean, it
tropes have
doesn't
made it corny.
necessarily, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I think somebody's being trolled.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
Well,
Nita?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Nita.
being mean. But look,
Yeah.
well, see, okay, I'll be honest. My introduction to Flash Gordon was the cartoon. That's why I
The
put it up there.
Filmation cartoon,
Yeah, absolutely. And had I known that Max Van Sydow played Ming the Merciless, I would have watched that movie sooner than I did.
Right.
That's the
Quite
first-
incredibly, I
Yeah.
might add.
I just watched it this
Yeah.
past
For not
week
being
for the
Asian,
first
he was
time.
awesome.
And that
Look.
movie has a lot of phenomenal touches to it that accumulates together into a nice 2-hour brain check schlock.
Yeah.
Badass soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
Badass soundtrack.
They put
Yeah.
opera in
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
And you can't argue with the actors that were on there. Brian Blessed,
Yeah.
Timothy
what's his
Dalton.
face? Timothy Dalton, Max von Sydow, Sam Jones. Maybe not the best of actors. Melanie
Deep
Anderson,
Roy. We had
maybe.
Deep Roy on that movie.
But-
Nobody talks about Deep
He
Roy.
was.
but
Yeah.
I forget. I
Topol
forgot
had
that.
just come off of Fiddler on the Roof, and he played Zarkov.
Yeah.
A lot of these
what's
actors were. Richard O'Brien is in that movie. Richard O'Brien, the writer of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's
Hey,
just
who
like
is he? I
He
completely
is
missed.
Prince Baron's number 2, the bald guy sitting there playing the flute on the Jungle Planet.
He's the
Oh,
guy that looks like
really?
Riff Raff.
yeah.
Well, no, I know he's Riff Raff. Yeah.
exactly right.
Well,
He's the
yeah,
guy
I
that
knew-
looks like
also-
Riff
I
Raff.
knew who he was, but I didn't see him.
Right, just like now, especially now, there's this whole comparison with Villeneuve's Dune and Finch's Finch. Is it Finch? David Finch? David
Lynch.
Finch's Lynch. David Lynch.
Lynch.
David Lynch.
David Lynch's Dune. And it's like, honestly, I love both versions of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one is so over the top. I mean, it's closer to Flash Gordon than
Yeah.
it is, but it is just so, again, Max von Sydow.
Oh, is
You
he
know?
in it too?
Yeah,
See,
he's in it.
the
too.
new
I have
one.
never
The new
seen.
one.
Yeah,
and I'll be
he's,
honest
It
with you.
is so
what's
over
his-
the top.
The newer
Crap,
one
what's his
didn't
name?
capture my imagination much to go with. So
Yeah.
Don't
Sorry, I have
watch the
someone
Sci-Fi
crawl in
Channel
my lap.
adaptation unless you want to fall asleep.
No, that's the
Children of
Alan.
Dune?
That's
Oh,
the
I
Alan.
love
No,
that.
yeah, don't. Yeah, the
I like
sci-fi. The
James
sci-fi,
McAvoy's in it.
I know, but
isn't that the one with William Hurt?
Yes,
it's so.
dry.
It's
Damn
so
dry.
corny.
It was
You
made
see
for
what's really fun?
sci-fi.
This is the fine line where Dune was with the Toto soundtrack and everything was so over the top. The sci-fi version crossed that line into corny. It's like when the
No, no,
still suits,
sci-fi.
yeah, when the still suits look like they got them at Home Depot.
Probably did.
It's like,
They were working on a budget,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Am I the only
Duct
person
tape.
that actually likes the Sci-Fi Channel version?
I
of
think
Dune?
so. I think
Sorry,
so.
Mitch.
All right.
Yeah, sorry about
Sci-fi
that.
had a lot of
I
crap.
haven't seen a version of Dune I haven't liked. So I mean,
Well, there
Oh,
you
there
go.
you go. You just like Dune. There you
Yeah.
go.
You're just
Right,
like
yeah.
Dune.
Yeah,
Can't wait
So
for
you'll hate me
Christopher
when I
Walken to
say the
play the
original
Emperor.
David Lynch one was overrated.
Oh,
It was
no,
underrated.
That's my opinion, and,
actually.
actually.
and I appreciate it for what it is, but
right.
I find it highly overrated.
I'm just glad we didn't get that Alejandro Jodorowsky garbage fest that he was planning to do.
Well, you know
We
what?
did.
That was
That's
like 14
we did it.
hours
It's
long.
called Meta Barons.
Oh, okay.
he took Jodorowsky took the all the work that he did for Dune, for his Dune movie, and he turned it into Meta Barons.
Oh, okay.
Well, and all of the studios in Hollywood took the book that he gave them and turned it into 80s sci-fi. Because if you watch Jodorowsky's Dune, which is a documentary about him trying to get the Dune movie made, they break it down at the end and say they got this and they used it in Blade Runner, they used this in RoboCop, they used this in Star Wars.
And all the same people that worked on the project with him, they went off to make these movies. Yeah. So he birthed an entire genre, a new genre of movies just from this book, from a movie that was never made.
Yeah.
Wow,
I got kind of mad at that documentary at the beginning where he says a director's not supposed to stay faithful to the source material. I'm like, then why buy the rights to it?
Well, and don't watch the Superman Lives documentary. Oh boy.
Well, it's
write your own. Oh wait, he did.
I love that documentary more than I would have loved the movie.
Yeah,
Superman Lives. That was Gruber made that film because he's just way out there. Yeah. Anyway,
not only did Jodorowsky said that he had no intention of being faithful, he never read the book. And not only that, he compared the entire process to a bridal rape. You have to destroy the thing in order to create something beautiful. And it's bro, bad analogy.
He actually says that.
What is it? What's the name of the documentary? Because now I want to go see
Jodorowsky's Dune.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
Stop licking the microphone.
It's a great piece because you get to see behind the scenes of Hollywood, literally, of a man who was driven to make a movie off of source material he never read.
Right.
And he collected some of the greatest, most phenomenal artists of our time in order to do the production work, put together an incredibly large book that he made, 6 or 7 or 10 copies of, took it around all of the studios. All of the studios kept the book and dissected it. Yeah. And then went after all of the talent that he found.
Right.
And one of them in other science fiction movies. H.R. Geiger, Sid Mead, all of these, Mobius, all of these great guys.
He even had Salvador Dali wanting to play the emperor. And Salvador Dali only would take the role because Salvador Dali being the biggest troll that he is, he said that he would only do it if he was the most expensive, highly paid actor on the movie. So they came up with this whole formula how he was only going to be in it for 30 seconds.
Oh wow!
Which was statistically, if you broke up his pay, would technically make him the highest paid.
Got paid for 30 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, really, I think there came a point where they knew it wasn't going to be made, and they just said, "Fuck it, we're running to the end with this."
not in his mind. It was he drove it right to the end. Yeah, watch the documentary. It's classic. It really is, and it sets up all of this stuff. You sit there, you go through all of his creative process, and you're kind of going, "Oh, okay." And then at the end, they go, "Well, then all these studios took the books and just, you see this part? That's here. That part is over here. That part's up." It's just crazy what they ended up with, and it's all like, "Yeah, you're probably right."
So you're talking about those staying faithful as you could. Mm-hmm. When we talk about the Flash Gordon movie, one thing that I did notice was it looked like you were actually reading the comic while it was going. I was kind of amazed that they kind of kept that aesthetic. I mean, granted, his costume wasn't exactly the same.
Well, you were watching the comic, or you were watching the comic strip as if it was written by the writers of the Adam West Batman. Really.
Well,
but they kept the thing that I loved on it is they kept Raymond's look and feel most of the time through the film. I mean, Hawkmen looked like Hawkmen. The ships looked like Alex Raymond's ship, and that's 1930s crazy Art Deco, just fins.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
just craziness. And I don't think they could have ever found anybody better to do the soundtrack than Queen.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Just
Queen.
never would have found it. And that opening theme is such a earworm
Yeah.
that it sticks in your head to this day.
Everybody is singing it in their head right now.
Yeah, right.
Everybody
Right
already
now.
Everyone. Yeah. At this moment,
is.
everybody
But
in the
saying that, the one who played the Hawkman,
Brian.
Brian.
Blessed.
Blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Of course, some people might know him as
Icon.
He was a
Icon.
bombastic Shakespearean actor with a little bit of BBC television
Yeah.
thrown in. And he knew who he was. He knew why he was there. And he chewed scenery the way that he was expected to.
I only saw.
It's beautiful.
I only
It's
ended up
amazing.
seeing Flash Gordon because I knew that actor from coming off of I, Claudius, where he played Augustus Caesar, and it's like, and he's still kind of bombastic. That's kind of his style.
Yeah.
But he cranked it to 11 on
Oh,
Flash
yeah.
Gordon,
And
and
he
he
knew
looked
why
like
he
he
was
had the
there.
time of his life.
Yeah.
Now, see, you're here to come about, him from I Claudius. I'm thinking to myself, I know him from the Phantom Menace.
Right?
So-
He was in Doctor Who a couple of episodes
Yeah.
as well.
oh, but that is a
In the early
surprise.
Doctor Who's. Yeah. But everybody in the BBC pretty much was anyway. So at one point or another.
Yeah.
But
every character in the movie was in the comic strip except for what's his name? Clavius, the Doctor Doom looking guy in the club.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But everything else is just right out of Raymond.
Who is that actor? Because his voice was driving me nuts.
I know he's got a
But-
very distinctive voice though, doesn't he?
Yeah. But I looked for him and I couldn't find anything that was
Oh, I
That
can
stuck
look him
out
up
to
here.
me.
Give me a second.
Really? Wikipedia? Wikipedia didn't tell you anything?
I don't trust Wikipedia now. They
IMDb?
say
IMDb?
yes, he was
Stopped
a
it. It
Flash
wasn't-
Gordon,
I wouldn't
appalling
trust
actor.
Wikipedia.
Something stupid like that.
He stopped once he got to the part. It's not written well.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, Wikipedia isn't exactly the most accurate on a lot of things. So.
No.
Well, yeah. It's especially with some of the fanish stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
because
You should
like,
read my page.
Huh?
It's really good.
Wait, when you wrote or what about you?
Right.
Which one?
Oh, by the way, see, it's like the reason why I know him off of I Claudius is because you're a goddamn infant. You're a whole ass infant over there.
Oh.
Shots fired. Let's keep it PG, fellas.
Clytus, Peter Wingard.
Hmm.
Peter
Oh.
Wingard.
He passed
that
in
name
2018. Actor.
Yes, it sounds familiar.
Lenny Henry's show, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, where he played Langdale
Oh,
Pike.
he's probably
Tank
like
Melling.
one of these quintessential British actors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well, I kept kind of getting. I don't know why I kept thinking like Michael York.
He
feel
was
off
in
of-
Doctor Who, The Planet of Fire. The entire run of that, or the entire show of that,
Right.
back when it was broken down into episodes. Jason King, Department S, The Champions, The Prisoner. He was number 2 in the episode Checkmate.
I'm a number.
You see, I think it's not coincidence that
Saint.
all of the like for Flash, they obviously for Flash and Dale, it's Dale, right, the girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
That they got American actors, but like once they got to Mongo, everyone's British, and I think it's because British actors, they really have this thing of like acting through everything.
It's the
Like
voice.
they are not like they're not ashamed of what they're doing.
Mhm.
It's like these Shakespeare guys, it's like they're all in
Wait,
no matter the movie.
It's
But they
the
all- don't
voice.
well, don't they all
Watch 'em
have
in
to,
diapers?
Well,
Yo,
don't
what?
they all have to have a be part of some type of like Shakespearean troupe or whatever?
They
the case is?
usually
Because I know it's
all
an
are.
Actors Guild
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
They usually all are.
Yeah.
and so that theater comes out and that broad,
Yeah.
projection.
Well, you see, that's the thing that I think that worked with Dune and Flash Gordon is that it came off more as theater than a movie. And I think that at least for me, that's kind of part of the appeal, of it. It's really over the
British.
top. Yeah, it's like I said, it's like it was very it wasn't any different than me watching I Claudius on Channel 13. You know, it's like it was kind of like the same thing. You know, and again, it's like, and mind you, and if you watch all three of those things, a lot of the actors overlap. You know,
Yeah.
it's,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
because you have Cyan Phillips, who played Livia in I Claudius, playing Reverend Mother Gaiam in David Lynch's Dune. You know, I mean, again, icons. You know, right?
Right. Well, they probably, in some form or another, they probably all worked with each other in theater or
Yeah.
whatever the case
Yeah.
is too. They're like, hey, you know, it'd be a good idea for. That's how we got Harry Potter, but let's not talk about that.
Right.
Anyway,
Not that was for last. Those are for the last. Harry Potter's for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, but so when it comes down to discussing space opera versus or compared to science fiction, is there a line drawn or is there an overlap?
Normally, space is the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Because, well, in all fairness, space opera is in space, more intergalactic. But in science fiction, you might just have some robots on Earth.
Right.
You know, so
I think it's the scope of it.
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's, you know, yeah, it's, yeah, I think it's the wider scope, you know, because it's like what George Lucas always described Star Wars as cowboys in space, you know, samurai in space. You know, it's just that they're in space, but it's still the same type of, you know, epic movie. You know,
that's how Star Trek got sold to NBC.
Right.
They sold it as Wagon Train in Space because Wagon
Right.
Train was the big Western show at the time.
You have space dysentery.
Yes, exactly.
Those were troubles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at like a lot of the landmark space operas, like, you know, we're talking about Dune, Star Wars, you know, Buck Rogers and so forth. A lot of times, if you take the space and the more science fiction-y elements out, it's still heavily into the fantasy genre.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like, you know, Dune's basically like a classic Greek myth in space.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was the same thing with Star Wars, wasn't it? Taken from like Greek mythology.
Well, it has because you know, because Joseph Campbell did an entire book, you know, like referencing Star Wars as the quintessential hero's journey, which gets its origins from mythology. So it's kind of a combination of a lot of those things, but I guess it's like, yeah, it's like because space opera is kind of like, it's not hard science, you know, you know, like
Right.
although would 2001 be considered a space opera?
No.
Yeah.
Music wise, maybe, but
Right.
but I mean,
like on a literal superficial
Can you
level.
even can you consider it science fiction?
Yeah.
It's hard sci-fi.
Right, you know,
Like, you don't get harder than that.
you know, but it's like, but there is this scope to 2001, but it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily fit the definition of a space opera. You know, it's kind of like, you know, like throwing another one out there, you know, that kind of doesn't fit the definition, but you think it should, is Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
which is
horror.
more right,
A
which is
haunted
more
house
horror,
in space.
right? Which is more horror, but it kind
Love
of
that movie.
has that. Yeah, I know it's you
Like
know,
Alien,
right?
compared to Aliens 2, or Aliens, I should say.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's like it's, you know, it starts. It's like it's the whole space thing kind of plays around with the themes. You know, it's. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, but it's not. Yeah, they technically don't fit the definition of space opera.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I can't really see Alien fitting into that idea of you're basically running for your life. So it's
Right.
more than just
Well, but here's
space
the thing:
horror.
if you take all of the movies together as a whole,
including
become-
Prometheus, or
well, yeah, I mean, I guess everyone is including that now, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like considered part of the canon now. So what if you were to take all of the movies as a whole?
Alien versus Predator.
Does it become a
doesn't
space
count.
opera? Does it
Garbage.
become a space opera?
That is written badly.
Right.
If that's space opera, I can
Maybe
see where
that's what
get
they.
that.
Maybe that's what they were saying.
The
No,
comics
they-
aren't though. The comics are pretty good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will say.
They just had
What's
a bad idea of what writing is about. That's all.
Well, wait, what's the definition of an opera per se? I mean,
Play in musical form, technically. I mean,
then that would be a
that's what I
musical.
learned in school. Well, I mean,
Drama.
like,
The music is just a small part of it's more like an epic sweeping story.
Right.
Yeah.
You could take the Odyssey and turn it into a space opera incredibly easily.
Well, let's
Yeah,
say
absolutely.
Wikipedia has.
I would be
Jason and the
surprised if they
Argonauts.
have.
Most mythology you can turn into space operas. Yeah.
Right. Well, most mythology gets turned into operas.
Mhm.
You know.
Well, here we have the difference between an opera and a musical is opera is commonly written pretty badly. So,
Oh, Jesus
I'm kidding, I'm
Christ.
kidding, I'm kidding. But see, even
You had me on that.
I would have believed that definition if it was switched around.
well, listen, but if I
Most movie musicals have a real bare bone plot in order to
Well,
string the songs together.
yeah,
Unless
right.
it's Moulin Rouge.
Right.
Let's-
I'll fight you. I'll fight you
There's-
for that movie.
The Wall.
So okay.
Oh, there we go. Rock opera. Pink Floyd, The Wall. Rock opera.
yeah.
There's actually music in that, so I can see that.
But the definition behind there has to be, let's see, of course I keep finding musical, but there has to be more than just music
In an opera.
for this definition.
Yeah.
Opera versus musical.
Let's see. Everybody going to Google now.
Yeah, right. We're just have a Google party.
Hey y'all, what's
Like
on
the
y'all
focus is
Google?
more on, but it doesn't help.
Oh,
Okay,
here we
opera,
go.
as the
An
name
opera-
implies, is before the scene opera.
Well,
thanks.
I have an opera is primarily sung, whereas a musical, the song are interspersed with passages of dialogue. In both instances, it is drama and words that drive the action. So an opera, so the thing is, so technically in the term space opera, the word opera is being used incorrectly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They should be singing, but there has to be an etymology to it, right?
Well,
yes
to
and
be
no.
honest, the classical definition of an epic is a large, usually mythical story told in rhyme. But how many epics are made today that are in rhyme?
Right, yeah.
None.
Yeah, exactly.
If there is, it's written badly.
Right. But at least that explains why Pink Floyd The Wall is considered is called a rock opera, because there's no dial, there's no it's just one song after the other that tells the story. There's no intermission of dialogue in anything. But we're not talking about Pink Floyd.
this might be here because I went to go look up the etymology of it just to see what we have, and it's a drama sung. But what's interesting is it's a form of musical composition evolved shortly before 1600 by some enthusiastic Florentine amateurs. Now here I think is where we find the meat of it, who sought to bring back the Greek plays to the modern stage.
Oh, okay.
So if we take that definition of it, we can actually kind of see where that idea of the space opera comes from.
It goes back to the whole mythology thing. So that's probably why you have the epic hero's journey scope going on.
Right.
That defines it. So that's why.
That's right.
So there you go. So if you know what, I can accept that definition because it kind of it's kind of making sense to me.
Yeah. Well, here on Dispatches, we get down to the meat of it. That's
right. Yeah. Exactly.
We're gonna find out. We think outside the box.
Exactly. So now it makes sense if you look at opera in its original definition of, it's modern Greek plays or something, except with music.
And it also says here that it's commonly written horrendously. So
in Italian.
So I guess right now what would be our biggest example of space opera, of course, would be Star Wars.
Because they keep cranking it out.
But what's interesting about Star Wars is I'm going to show you something here. Let's see. Of course, for anyone who doesn't know, there was a European comic called Valerian.
Yeah.
Really good.
Don't tell me I lost it.
It's considered I think it's considered the longest running comic book done by a single creator.
And it's beautiful.
I think the
It
guy
is. Golly, it
passed
is.
too. I think he recently passed too. But it's like, yeah, it's like every like every major concept in Star Wars came from that comic.
Right. That's what that's actually
And
what I'm
Fifth
about
Element.
to pull up here. Yeah, well, he did. Luke Besson really
Besson,
did
yeah.
try to.
Yeah, Luke Besson
adapt it.
used it a lot in Fifth Element before he even made the movie Valerian.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Which
that makes
unfortunately
sense.
was bad.
No, you see, unfortunately, that was. I think that had more to do with
Rihanna. Yeah.
no, actually, because he had really good chemistry with Rihanna. The problem is that there wasn't really good chemistry between the two main characters.
There was a very deadpan feel to both
Yeah.
of them.
But the ironic thing
Bad
is that
casting
they were
on both
great.
parts.
They were great separate. They were great
Yeah.
separately, and whatever scenes they were in separately, they were great. But when they were together in the same scenes, it's like, who are these people? Get them off the screen.
Well, see, that's why I wonder. Maybe they just didn't like each other, and that
Maybe.
really came through. Because sometimes that
apparently,
happens.
Apparently, I've heard that Kara, I can never pronounce her last name.
Delevingne.
Yeah, who played Laureline is really hard to get along with.
But
But
she
it
has a
could also
great
be-
face, though. She has. I mean,
Sure.
I really enjoyed her in the movie. She has like this.
I enjoyed
really,
her
really-
face as well.
Yes, she has
That's
this
about what it is,
really
isn't
distinctive face.
She had a face.
Yeah.
I was distracted.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting to me, like if you look at the Darth Vader, and they kind of show this side by side here, and maybe, but I'm not too sure because I always think about I always heard that the inspiration for Darth
Oh, you
Vader
ripped
came
off
from,
Watto?
yeah, well, that's not a rip off; it's an inspiration. It's an homage.
It's an homage. It's an
There you
homage.
But I always heard that the inspiration for Darth Vader really came from Doctor Doom.
I don't
I can see
knowing
that.
George. You know what? Knowing George Lucas, I wouldn't be surprised because it's like everyone keeps hammering him with this whole, "Oh, you got this here, you got this there," and he goes, "No, not at all." And then he was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." I did. So he eventually breaks down. But I think that has a lot to do with the fact that if he admits if he admits that he swiped a little too much, he has to start paying royalties.
Right.
Yeah.
So he kind of like.
Well, I'm
Well,
sure there was a lot of Lucas walking into the artists that he had chosen to do, showing them images and going like that, but different.
Right. Yeah. I'm said. Yeah. Exactly.
He's already admitted that Star Wars would have never
No,
existed.
see, she's
if King
in
Features
silver
had
and
given him
she's
the
in
rights
gold.
Yeah, right.
that what, Randy? That Star
Star
Wars.
Wars would have never existed if he had been able to secure the rights for Flash Gordon.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
He had planned on doing a Flash Gordon movie because
That was-
it was those old serials brought back to life. That's really what he was after to do. That's why he did Indiana Jones right after that. It's right off of those Saturday afternoon serials.
Yeah.
And what's funny is Flash Gordon probably wouldn't have gotten made had Star Wars not been made.
Yes.
That's yeah. So it's all
just
like a
kind of
little
interesting.
Ouroboros of
Neither would have Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
yeah.
And
Oh,
Paramount would have
Masters of
never
the
moved
Universe.
fast tracked on that.
What is that? Masters of the Universe?
And Masters of the Universe.
Well, there was a whole
fast-tracked that.
slew of space opera movies that came out right after Star Wars. As soon as somebody
Right.
could throw the film together, Battle Beyond the Stars and Ice Pirates and
Right.
Well, see, I heard
of course, Spaceballs.
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica, yeah.
See, I actually heard that was what Guardians of the Galaxy ended up. It was at first it was going to whoever was coming up with it. I don't know if it was James Gunn or whoever was looking to do a Flash Gordon movie. I think they were looking to do a Flash Gordon movie. Then they kind of hit Guardians, and Guardians basically takes almost the same premise,
Right.
and makes it.
Well,
But,
Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers, the properties have been bouncing around for years. I mean, if the Spirit movie by Miller had picked up, he had Buck Rogers as the next movie on his plate. He was ready to go.
Oh,
Then-
good.
Then I'm glad Spirit failed.
But
a
I kind of
space movie in black and white with the occasional red.
there's a yellow in there too, right?
I'm
no,
not
that
happy
happened.
that Spirit failed. It was just a bad movie for a great
Yeah.
character and
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
creative.
right.
Great
Yeah, you could-
character, great person, Frank Miller. It just didn't work.
Will Eisner's a legend that didn't
Well-
deserve that.
Well, no, it's
Yeah,
almost
no, you didn't.
almost polar opposite visionary styles, really.
Yeah,
Justin Walker says, "I
Oh,
love the
Fifth
Fifth
Element.
Element."
I love
Now
the
here-
Fifth Element,
great
too.
movie.
I was working in the
Great
movie theater
movie.
when that came out, and I did not want to see that movie at all. That looked stupid as hell to me. And yeah, it
What?
really.
No,
Yeah,
it's like
no.
Jamie
No,
took-
wait.
Uh,
I watched it. I was in the movie theater, so I got to see it for free. I think I watched it like 4 or 5 times in the movie theater.
Right. No, it's like that was a movie that
I'm so
JD
jealous.
told me. It's like, you have to come see this movie. And I go, okay, this was, back then. And I remember sitting in the theater watching it. And I came out of the theater going, what the heck did I just watch? And then went to see it again. I had to see it again. And now it's like, yeah, that's I again, another movie that makes me fight. It's like I will protect this movie with my life.
Hey, you and me both.
That's
Yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
movie
It's
when,
great.
when it was done. I
Right.
said that they're never going to get closer to putting Mobius on the screen than
Right.
Oh,
that.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
The funniest thing about that is that Mobius actually sued Luc Besson because, oh, you ripped off
No,
my
It
designs.
was
And then it turned
Jodorowsky because
Oh,
Mobius
Jodor-
worked on it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mobius worked on it, and then there was some kind of clash between him and Jodorowsky, and then
What happened that what Busan told him, it's like, you worked on the movie. We paid you for this. Mobius actually forgot that he worked on
Oh, yeah.
it could
Yeah.
have been just Mobius. Yeah,
But I mean, and feel and look, just
Mhm.
everything in that
Yeah.
film was just Mobius all through.
Completely agree.
I think that was part of the reason why I was so disappointed with Valerian, because it
Yeah.
seemed as if that would be something that he would have just excelled
Yeah, you would
at
think.
making.
Yeah.
Well,
How does that fail and Avatar makes it? That's beyond.
well, you
me,
have Valerian's a
James Cameron.
difficult property too. Same thing with how did Avatar succeed and Alita not make it?
right.
you know.
And Alita is
Another
a
brilliant
really
movie.
good movie.
Yes.
That is a really good movie. I mean, it's like I only knew the manga superficially,
Right.
Oh, I
But I-
loved it.
I
Mhm.
think that as its own movie, I mean, I just adored it. It's like it's so very positive, and it's like it's a very positive dystopian movie.
And there's not, in my mind, there's not a lot of movies, live action movies out there that actually capture the manga or the anime
Right.
as well as Alita
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it really,
Especially
so-
with manga and anime, they
Yeah.
don't make good movies a lot of times. Most of the
They
time,
don't.
I
Well, 'cause
really
think
liked Attack on Titan. I thought that was amazing.
the which, because I know they did a live action of that I haven't seen.
The
Well,
live
it
action
depends. If
Attack
it's
on Titan was
American
crazy.
and they make a
Yeah.
manga or anime
No, it was-
live action, it's
It was
junk.
Japanese. It was
Right.
Japanese,
Death
yeah.
Yeah.
Death Note.
Yeah.
The Japanese one, the Japanese Death Note was
Yeah.
actually
Well-
pretty decent.
Right.
it was
it's like-
actually pretty good
It's when
Bleach
us
was good,
Americans
too.
get a hand on it is when
because they don't understand. They don't
Yeah, it's,
understand.
they
the
only
appeal.
take the very superficial aspects of it, and then they don't understand
Americanized.
what.
Well, you
makes
have
it-
that. You have that plus the majority of the so-called producers and the director and the creative people in these productions all want to put their stamp on it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why you
And-
get
and-
things like Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
the
this is
the
true.
Raimi one or the new
Studio
one?
wants Venom. Let's put him
Right.
in
Yeah,
there. We don't care if
exactly.
you like him
Yeah.
or know anything about him. Just put him in there.
yeah. We
We'll
want
sell toys.
because that's.
I think they made more money on the toys than they did the movie
they honestly, I think
That movie
that's
still
what it
made
is.
bank
Yeah.
somehow.
Mhm.
because it was the
Never
third.
underestimate the power
Yeah.
of merchandising.
It was you're running off of the the coattails of Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, plus that's when like the Marvel movies really exploded because you had like the Punisher at the same time. They had like another X-Men movie, well, a few other X-Men movies, and
Well, let me ask this question though. Now, with we're being saturated with Star Wars now. Is that going to smother out any possibilities of more space opera?
As long as Star Wars sucks, yeah, it will.
I mean, I think that I'm sorry. What? Can you repeat the question? I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Basically, what I'm saying is because Star Wars, we're so saturated with Star Wars,
Right.
and it being a space opera, does that mean that we're not going to be able to see more space opera come out? I know we do have Dune though.
Because we do have Dune, they've already greenlit the second movie, and the thing is though, and honestly, I think a lot of people really, I think the audience at large for the movies, I don't think they understand what's coming up.
yeah,
It's like,
No,
so,
we don't.
yeah,
I don't. Sorry.
it's like, really, God Emperor of Dune got approved? What?
oh, God Emperor got approved.
To be fair,
think
Kenobi
I
is
knew that
better
part
than
They're
Boba
looking,
Fett. So.
yeah,
Oh.
they're heading in that direction.
I would love to
mean,
see Duke Leto or Leto the second,
Second.
Giant worm guy.
Yeah, really. I mean,
just
it's
to
like,
see that.
yeah, it's like, and then
Just
it's
ready
like,
to
'cause-
watch someone ride some worms.
yeah, exactly. You see, because that's the thing, because people think that's what Dune's about, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I hope you like Duncan, Idaho. When I saw Jason Momoa, it's like, oh, I hope you really like that character.
They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
I
They don't know.
I have no idea. Nope, I
Yeah,
don't.
no,
I have
there you
no
go.
idea what I know.
No spoilers. No spoilers on a book from the 60s.
Read the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Read a book.
Books.
They have
Yeah.
audiobooks too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
As much stuff as I have to read and now research, I'm going through Grimm's fairy tales right now to talk about it next week. So
Oh, very
give me a
nice.
break.
Oh, good God, that's depressing. I'm
And
sure.
you just did last week. What are you talking about? Dark
Yeah.
The
fantasy.
book is like
No, because believe it or not, despite popular belief, Grimm's fairy tales are not all dark.
Right.
Oh,
They're
but
not.
but they're a lot darker than what people
Oh,
think
yeah.
They
they
get
are.
dark. They get really dark. Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week because you got to take into consideration is what we consider dark now. Is that really what they considered dark then?
Right.
No.
But that's
compared to the
a
Disney
discussion for
versions,
next week.
yes, it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, Christian, right? Anyway,
Yeah. Well, Disney didn't really give a shit about that. He was just making product. Even at the very beginning, he knew he was just making product because Tolkien was up his ass about that. It's like Tolkien was pretty much accusing Disney of what we accuse Disney of now,
Yeah.
of appropriating cultural myths and stories and whatnot and turning it into this pablum that becomes the new popular culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we forget what the originals are. I mean, this was Tolkien telling him that. It's like, look, it's like, you just look up Norse mythology now and see how difficult it is to kind of wade through the Marvel shit.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
Marvel / Disney stuff,
Yeah.
because
Right.
Marvel is more Disney than it is Marvel.
Wait, you mean Loki's bisexual?
Look, if that's the only thing you know about it,
He only knows about that from you, though.
it's like there's a lot missing.
All of
No,
them
they
old
said that.
gods.
They said that
That's
in
the
They
superficial.
said that in
That's
Loki. There's a lot more than that.
There's a lot more to that, and it's
all
like,
of them old gods screwed around.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
They say the original Greek and
Booty.
Roman myths go back to the biblical Nephilim. That was pre-flood, back when they said the angels came down and started screwing with the humans, literally,
right, yeah.
and making another race of giants and of
with horses.
mutants,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. And that's where all of the and the superhero is an outbirth from mythology.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, yeah, I mean,
The hero
basically,
mythos.
even what we're talking here, as far as space opera is concerned, everything comes out of that mythology
Right.
from that,
Sure.
that
Yeah.
idea. I remember somebody talking about it. We were talking about it last week. Was
Right.
it last week? About this.
Is the Book of Revelations dark fantasy?
Oh, right. Yeah, so this.
Yes.
Right. So, chat, is the Book of Revelations a space opera?
That's really it's really Paul tripping.
Well, actually, it
So-
was written by John. But,
John?
Yeah.
yes,
But
John
there's
the
a
Revelator.
dragon.
I thought that was Paul. But anyway, it's been a long time.
Well, we're not going to get into all that
On the
because
Isle of Patmos.
because
Beast,
then I'll bore you
wonderful
all
Beast. Yeah.
with that.
When I knew the Keystone Comics did an adaptation of Revelation. That I knew the inker that was on the project, Jason Moore. He's in the chat sometime. He said, "Hey, I'm going to ink a book on the Book of Revelations." I says, "Great, it's right down your alley, buddy. There's all sorts of monsters and crazy beasts in that thing." No, move on.
Right, yeah. We're not
But I'll
talking
tell you what. Now, talk about Fifth Element. I would love to see some more like that, honestly, though, because it really did think outside the box. Because when you think it's
not
There's some-
nowadays.
They're supposed to be doing a live action version of the Inkle.
I did hear
yeah,
that.
but-
Yeah,
Who's
you know,
doing
Taiti
that?
Watiti.
that's what I heard.
Right. It's like
Well,
which is
Watiti
like-
also wanted to do Flash Gordon, so I don't know what he's going to
I
end
don't know.
up doing.
It could go either way. I mean, it's like
I could see it a Flash Gordon more than I could see the Inkle from
Yeah.
him. Honestly.
Well, I don't know. Either one of them would be adaptable, but let's see.
Oh
it
yeah,
happen.
yeah, absolutely. Well, just considering how you take his Thor and his humor from the stuff that he's done from
Yes.
What We Do in the Shadows and everything,
Yep.
I could see Flash Gordon being more
yeah.
adaptable for him than I could see the Inkle.
Well, anyway.
Now I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm just talking about overall story. Is really
Have you seen Jojo Rabbit? He can do serious.
Jojo Rabbit wasn't that serious.
And neither was the main
Did you
character
see
in the
Sam
Inkle,
Rockwell in that movie? Don't tell me if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit.
He's a child.
He basically has the house. Okay,
He hallucinates
Hitler Youth. Hitler's
his idol.
His imaginary friend is Hitler, which is great and it's hilarious. It's funny and it's sad and it's look. Scarlett Johansson actually reminded people that she could act in that movie. I'll give her that.
She actually made me believe she could act in the first Avengers movie. Whenever her and Banner fell into that hole and he started changing, she was trying to get the fuck out of there. Like you could see it. Like I don't know what they did to her on set, what Joss did to her, but you could see
she
it.
just started phoning it in after a while. That was it.
Yeah. Well, the scene at the beginning where they're in, what was it, Brazil or something, and she goes and finds Banner, and he yells at her, and she like just flips the gun, and she's just shaking.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was my
But anyway, maybe she'll be in a space opera one day. We'll find out how well she can act.
Probably, maybe.
Ghost in the Shell.
So
we don't talk about that.
Well,
that wasn't really a space opera.
Thanks, Randy. I forgot about that, Jim.
Yeah, where Scarlett Johansson's literally playing an Asian woman.
Yeah.
Watch the movie.
Yeah. It's
They didn't whitewash her. They
It's,
they did the opposite.
They just made it worse. You know what it is? They just made it worse. Just watch the cartoons, everybody. Just go. The originals are right there. Just you don't need to worry about.
But that would and of course that would be science fiction, right?
Right. Yeah.
That would be.
That definitely not a Ghost in the Shell is definitely.
As far as we know, there's only one planet that's inhabitable.
Okay. Now speaking of that, now when we get into other things that
Ghost in the Shell.
what about space operas that don't include aliens? Like somebody pointed out that Firefly would be considered a space opera. And I don't remember there being any aliens in Firefly, were there?
No, they hadn't found them yet. No.
Right, and same thing with Cowboy Bebop. They were inhabited planets.
Space. Does it have to have aliens?
Who?
Not necessarily. They have to have governments. That's definitely sure.
There's also in this little gem that was on Sci-Fi called Dark Matter, there was no aliens.
Oh yeah,
that was
and
good.
they went to multiple planets.
Yeah,
I actually
That was a
enjoyed
good
that.
show.
That was good.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually. So when we kind of moved into movies. What kind of space opera television shows aside? We said Firefly, but there is Battlestar Galactica, and that other one that Randy likes. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, Babylon 5. I was still look. I just
don't
watched.
Understand your point, Jared. You just haven't sat and watched it.
It's maybe because I was too young at the time. I don't know.
Be.
But
Really, you could have been that young.
That could be.
Could have been
I'm
that young.
not a Straczynski fan, so I'm just.
Oh,
I remember watching it when it came on at first, because it didn't come on at a normal time. It wasn't like at nighttime here. It was like in the afternoon.
it was
on a Sunday
scattershot
or something.
because it was syndicated, not with any network, really serious network behind it. So that it was all over the place.
But
Does
you
that
had mentioned
stream anywhere?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
HBO Max has the entire run. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now I'll tell you one thing.
I would recommend to anybody sit and watch it. Watch the first few shows. You have to get through about half of the first season, and then it'll go. All of a sudden, you're in like season 3, and
Right.
you curse every time the credits roll, because it's like, do I
Also,
quit? Do I
you
watch
have-
the next?
Is it
one?
that
Holy-
serious?
Really, what you have to also
It's really
keep
good.
in
I
mind.
remember it being good actually.
Yeah, you
I'll
have
try-
to
I'll-
keep
Who said
in
that?
mind
Who said that?
that Babylon 5 is pre 9/11.
Oh
which
yeah.
which is kind of fascinating in and of itself to see, like what television was like before then, and then what started being produced afterwards.
Well,
That's
the reboot-
crazy to
the
think
reboot
like
will
that.
be real
It really is
fascinating.
that we're at that because before coming up, we weren't there for Pearl Harbor,
Right.
but the Kennedy assassination, which
Right.
changed the world, and
Well,
to
it
see
was the
that
first.
shift.
It was the first episodic novel for television, and it really comes off of the pacing and writing from stuff like Hill Street Blues and St. Elsewhere, where they and Straczynski was off of Captain Power at the time, which is a kid show.
Oh golly,
he-
Captain Power.
And he's sitting there thinking, what if we bring in space, science fiction elements and characterization, and it's a true space opera in that it's an epic story where characters alter and change throughout the show, and it's done intentionally. He knew pretty much where he was going to end up. Actually, you only need to watch the first 4 seasons, but because he was so jumbled at the time putting the thing together, and it was so haphazard. Everybody was showing it on different times, different days, and all of this. It was a royal mess. And he didn't think he was going to get a 5th season.
Yeah.
And he had scheduled or had figured the thing out for 5 years. He was going to go 5 years and done. Well, he's not sure if he's going to end the 4th season. The 4th year, I think, was on TNT, if I'm not mistaken. He ended up basically finishing it at the end of the 4th season, and as much as he could, because he didn't know if he was going to come back for a 5th. But there's a definite great story to it. There's a great arc, and if you go in and you know the troubles and the tribulations that he was going through at the time, and at the time it was out, CompuServe was raging, and he was really big on getting on social platforms and going, watch this, I'm doing this for this and doing that for that, and I'm here to answer any of your questions. And anybody could ask him a question about the show and he'd send an answer right back to him. It was really the first like socially involved series on top of the first novel really made for television. It was really made for streaming before there was streaming. That's why HBO Max wanted to grab it and show it, especially now that they're going to reboot the thing and redo it. It'll be real interesting to see what happens with all of the sensibilities that have happened since then. And Straczynski has already said he's learned so much about writing, and the world has changed so much since then that it'll be almost a completely different show.
Mm.
But the show that's up there is well worth sitting and watch. I rewatched it when I first got HBO Max, and you go straight through it. And I'm telling you, once you get once you're past the opening where they're setting the stage for everything, see in his writing, I really, like Jared says, not a huge fan of Straczynski in a lot of other places, but on this show,
Supreme Power was good.
This is amazing. It took him a couple of years to figure out how to write comics. You know, he knows how to write comics now. And I tell everybody, if you get a chance to see, there's a Brave and the Bold collection out there of all short stories that he did that are all one and dones. There's 6 one and done stories, and it's different characters meeting other characters. Every last story in that is phenomenal. Just top-notch writing, just beautiful stuff. Babylon 5 is this big overall epic that he was running shotgun over, writing, directing. He had Harlan Ellison as a consultant on the thing.
And I think he also cameoed on the episodes too.
In one, I think he was in one. But he had a lot of people walk in and out of the set, just really big famous people. And he couldn't pay them nothing. You know, he was on such a tight budget. The sets are cheap. The effects are one of the first computer generated effects shows on television, if not the first. They were crunching Apple computers at night, trying to get the effects done for the show. They just let it run and go home and come back.
Yeah, I think it was the first time Maya was used in that capacity.
That's what it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's just fascinating to get in and read it. I bought his screenplay book off of it. I bought the script for the pilot off of it in order to study it, because the writing is just that good, and it's just overall it's just amazing. There's a lot of great speeches. He found some really good actors. It's wonderfully cast. Jerry Doyle is in it. It's the only big thing that he ever did outside of like a McDonald's commercial, and he ended up on right-wing radio for like years, making millions of dollars until he passed. But Claudia Christian is in it. Bruce Boxleitner comes in the second season. There's just all of these great people in there. Just the leads for the aliens that he got were phenomenal, just top-notch people, and it's just a great piece of work considering the budget that he had and the time limits that he had and the worries that every season had that there might not be another one. And it all tells a cohesive story. It's really amazing.
And then Paramount ripped them off and made DS9.
Well, I can totally see that.
He pitched Babylon 5
which is why I like DS9, I guess.
And they took his Bible and turned it into DS9.
Yeah. And they lost the lawsuit. Paramount lost the lawsuit.
And they walked in and they passed it to the writers, and they said, Star Trek and this, do this, but do it different.
Star Trek that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Star Trek this shit. Here.
All right, we're going to take a couple of bumps and we'll be right back.
Now on Sunday mornings, longtime independent comics creator Randy Zimmerman brings to you a podcast that talks about the lighter and more whimsical side of comics, the fun side of comics. That's right. Sunday Funnies is back Sunday morning, 9 a.m. on the Raging 2 YouTube channel and on certain Facebook pages. Check it out, won't you? It's special guests, great talk, and a lot of fun as we work to put the fun back in funny books. See you there.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with Dreamer, Medina, and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the craze.
All right. So if you have a campaign and you want to ship out your comics, we suggest using a Gemini mailer. And for that, you can save 5% on your next Gemini mailer order by using the coupon code RAGIN2. Just head over there, use RAGIN2. Also, if you have any problems with what we said tonight, especially about Revelations, you can email us at gmail.com. Yeah, gmail.com. At gmail.com. There's no such thing as dumb questions, but our answers might be. And of course, we also have a plethora of different shows on the Ragin 2 network that you could check out. Uh, they're all great. The thing this week actually is House of Bob Saturday.
Yes, House of Bob is this Saturday. It's the last Saturday of every month, and we're there already. So,
all right, golly, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I have a speech by Jakar from Babylon 5, since we've already been struck off of Facebook.
Oh, have we been? We got bumped off of Facebook.
Something's dealing with Facebook.
Can I run it?
Was not me.
Well, I'm
your species.
It is 1 minute and 50 seconds.
I mean, I guess we'll take the chance.
Let's find out.
If you're watching this in the future and there seems to be a blip somewhere, it's because we had to take it out.
Well, we all cut. Well, next thing you know, that was awesome. Oh my gosh.
We should claim this under fair use, because we're not. And I hope that if anybody thinks about copyright striking,
right,
that they keep in mind that we love this show and we are
right. Well, usually it's bots.
We're not criticizing it. We love it.
You know, it's not even real people that are actually striking us technically.
But on your show, that Cyber 6 one was a real person.
That was your show.
That was your show. That was Sunday Funnies.
No,
Cyber 6.
Did we?
Oh,
we ran that on. We ran that on Sunday Funnies. I could have sworn we ran that on your on dispatches here.
No, because we were talking about artists who passed away.
Okay.
And it's the person that has that YouTube channel. It's like, don't you know that we've just basically sent people to your YouTube channel? What the hell is wrong with you?
They know.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Now to set this up, what happened in the show is that there's a surveyor. I don't remember who played it. She did a really good job. Was going out to survey and look for minerals on a certain planet that was way out on the fringe space. And Jakar, who's the lizard-like alien, told her not to go. And said, just begged her not to go. She goes out there and she's doing the survey, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this huge door opens, this huge ship comes through and literally knocks out all of her power. She loses all of her power, and she ends up going on a decaying orbit into the planet. And one of the Jakar's race's ships, he is a Narn, one of the Narn ships pop in and pull her out of a dead drop dive and take her back to Babylon 5. And this is at the very end of the show, when she tracks down Jakar and says, "What the heck did I just see?" All right.
As one does.
And I will try to share this as soon as I find it. Here we go. Boom. Is it up there?
There you go. It started.
It's there. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to blow it up and then we'll run it.
While I was out there, I saw something. What was it?
What is this?
An ant.
Ant.
How much gets picked up from Earth on commercial transports? It's hard to keep them out.
Yeah, I have just picked it up on the tip of my glove. If I put it down again, and it asks another ant, what was that? How would it explain? There are things in the universe billions of years older than either of our race. They are vast, timeless. And if they are aware of us at all, it is as little more than ants. And we have as much chance of communicating with them as an ant has with us. We know. We've tried. And we've learned that we can either stay out from underfoot or be stepped on.
That's it? That's all you know?
Yes. They are a mystery. And I am both terrified and reassured to know that there are still wonders in the universe, that we have not yet explained everything. Whatever they are, Miss Sakai, they walk near Sigma 957. They must walk there alone.
You get the idea.
It's almost like a positive spin on Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Instead of the cosmic horror, it's kind of like almost like Carl Sagan.
Have you watched the show?
Romance.
Daphne, have you watched Babylon 5?
No, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. You know, Jose JD watches it. He recently went through all the episodes.
Yeah, I think I told him start at the first one and then start running through. And about halfway through the first season, all of a sudden you're sitting there watching 3, 4, 5 of them in a row. It's just it gets really good.
He told me. Yeah, he told me Sunday that I had to mention it. So
right.
Yeah.
I'm more of the space opera with the fantasy elements in it. And Babylon 5 is more like kind of more hard fantasy.
You didn't watch enough of it.
Right.
Because it gets really good. That's all. That I can't get into everything about it, but it is there's a lot more themes than just what you saw.
Right.
And that's the ant speech there is in like the first couple of episodes, and everything just blows out from there. It does get political, but there's a lot of really crazy fantasy elements in it that tie into science fiction as they figure out these races, and they keep bumping into, like the guys at Sigma 957 there, they keep bumping into more and different races and different people, and just an entire universe expands out of it. It's really interesting.
What were you going to say, Jared?
I like
you would especially enjoy the Minbari.
Are they hot?
No, there's a lot of fantasy involved in there. And
in all honesty, I will give it a shot if it's on HBO. I'll give it a shot.
HBO Max, yeah.
I like the more fun stuff like Farscape.
See, I was about to bring that up because I have.
Were you?
Ironically, after I just said that I prefer more fantasy, I absolutely abhor Farscape.
I just watched my first episode of Farscape today. And I was thinking, golly, this has a very Jim Henson feel to it.
It sure does.
At the end, Brian Henson's name shows up. I'm like, okay, that's why.
Don't let that stop you, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely. That draws
time.
me in. That doesn't stop me at all.
And if you look at space opera down to the tropes, I guess you would say, Farscape is exactly space opera. It's rousing space opera. Yeah.
It's out there. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lighthearted, but it also has deep moments. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
What was interesting about this is in the first episode, you don't always get a feel for people. And again, like I said, I've only seen the first episode, so don't hold anything against me. But you don't normally get a feel for characters wholly, but they kind of did, where they were able to take this eclectic cast and you kind of got the idea of the personality of each character that was in it. Even though
it gets more wild, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets wild. Yeah.
I always confused it with Lex. I never watched Lex either.
Lex.
I was about to bring that.
Lex is French.
Yeah, I love that.
Have you ever seen Lex, Daphne?
No.
It's you would like it because it can be very
erotic. Love it. You would love it.
Yeah. Well, the whole concept itself is kind of erotic.
Well, it's French. It's French.
It's very French. Yes.
Daphne, sex in space.
Right. Yeah.
Leather.
Phallic imagery.
Right. I need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Right.
It's one of the first series.
Sex robot.
It's one of the first series that I can remember where the white guy was totally cucked from the start.
Right.
Yeah.
Just totally. And he stays that way all the way through the show.
Yeah.
Wait, is there another angle we could sell this at? I'm just curious because I have to admit right now that's not really.
The ship in Lex, you'll know when you see the opening credits because the ship in Lex is so phallic. It just screams.
Yes.
Well, no.
It's
French.
It's just it's very French. That's all we can. It's very French.
Yeah, French.
And it's very there. It's also one of the few shows that I've ever watched when you watch an episode and you go, who wrote this? Steven Gerber wrote this, didn't it? Steve Gerber, the guy who did these oddball comics way back. He wrote this because it's really off kilter type. Sensual, sexual.
French.
Most of it French. Most of it's very, very, very humorous. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Most of the things that I've heard about it, when I remember it being on, I didn't watch it, didn't have cable, but I remember seeing images here and there, and it came off to me as being a very sexual show. So it didn't really interest me to watch it. However, I did hear that it actually takes on. It's actually a pretty good show. Is it a?
It runs about.
Or am
4
I
or
right?
5
Is it just
seasons.
a sexual show? Jeez, Mitchell, look
it's
at
an
you, man.
acquired taste. It has not to be not to say it for an innuendo, but it does get deep.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, it has its moments. But it's an acquired taste, I think.
It was weird enough. I liked it.
Yeah. Well, there you say French. Now I think Fifth Element.
Well, you know, you know what? Look, I wouldn't be surprised
in a lot
if
of
it's
ways,
based
it
on a
kind of
French
is.
comic.
It can't be like that, actually.
It would.
Fifth
It
Element.
wouldn't surprise me if there have been French comics
Yeah.
after it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was originally a French work. I think that
Right.
Sci-Fi Channel got a hold of and translated, and then they
Right.
stuck it way late at night.
Yeah.
They just got
Yeah,
But
well,
it's the same
well,
thing
because it's
real
with,
quick
French.
to 11 o'clock. Yeah, because it was
Cyber
French.
Six.
French.
That's a French comic that
Yeah.
they
Right.
that gets that is which when I looked it up, I was actually kind of surprised that they did a cartoon of Cyber 6.
Mhm.
You know, considering some of the themes in
Oh,
Cyber
right,
6.
right. Well, that's what I was saying. Well, and that's the point I brought up then too. It's like I'm actually kind of surprised that somebody's not out there trying to resurrect that, especially in
Right.
today's political climate.
Probably the person who owns the right has a stick up his ass.
That's right. He's freaking flagging everybody. It's like,
Yeah.
golly.
You know,
But,
I mean, yeah, that's it's
I mean,
just
it was
little-
it's a very Ozma type of
well, is it? But
An
the thing is, though,
Ozma
it
kind
is-
of thing?
it is
Ozma kind of
not-
thing. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, it's it's just
Read the
I-
second Oz book, kids. Land of
Right.
Oz by
Right.
Frank Baum. Well worth your time.
right. There you
What a
go.
great twist. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
But okay, so I'll be amiss if I don't bring this up. I have never watched the show, but it was huge. Battlestar Galactica. Somebody
either
tell me
one?
the drum.
it-
Neither one. 1984 or
right.
the
I was young when the original one came out, or I don't even know if I was born yet, but I watched it in reruns and I liked it, you know,
What's
as
a
a
sideline?
child, but you know, growing up, I just don't get what I got as a child.
right.
The remake that came out was really good, and Caprica
Oh, yeah.
was even better, but I wouldn't call Caprica the space opera, even though it's before all that, if that makes sense.
Well, it's all on
Because
the same planet.
Battlestar is the space opera.
The second
In
one,
all
especially, it built on not just the original Battlestar, but if there hadn't been Star Treks, if there hadn't been Babylon 5, there wouldn't have been a reboot like that of Battlestar Galactica.
So did it start off as a series or was it a book series?
No,
or
it was always
comic?
a TV series. It was
always a TV series.
It was a TV rip to try to cash in on the Star Wars craze back in 77, 78. And they
Which is-
quickly put it together. They went out and hired Dykstra to do the art, to do the effects. All the effects are practical in the original one. You know, with models and
Right.
long panning shots like they did in The New Hope and all of that. And
I think they tried to
basically-
like combine both Trek and Wars, you know, to
Well, Gary
in a way.
Larson says he did Mormons in space, is what he did. And
Gary Larson.
Okay, Larson,
Far
right.
Far Side Gary Larson.
no, different. Maybe not,
it's
not
maybe it's not
related.
Gary.
Sad.
Larson's the guy's last name.
I was gonna say I
okay.
didn't get that.
Right.
Gary Larson.
Because
Well, I
Because
can totally
sometimes
see
you never
Mormons in
know.
space coming from Gary Larson. I
Yeah,
can
okay.
totally see that happening.
I probably got the
Sometimes
guy's
with-
first
with
name
some
wrong. Somebody's
artists,
going to correct us
You
in
know,
the chat.
it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, because sometimes with artists, you never know, you know, like what they've worked on before. So
Right,
I
right.
wouldn't have, on a certain level, I would not have been surprised to find out Gary Larson.
Gary Larson probably did some kind of satire of Mormons in space.
Yeah,
It came out in 78. Glenn Larson. I'm sorry. Glenn A.
There we
Glenn
go,
Larson.
yeah.
The
Okay.
guy who
Close.
did Knight Rider and had some involvement, I think, with Buck Rogers, didn't he? Something
Right.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. You see, I mostly watched Buck Rogers. That I didn't get into Battlestar Galactica.
They were out to cash in on Star
Yeah.
Wars, so they tried to
Yeah.
do the best space opera they could, given the budget and the limited resources that they had. But the
And it worked at the
reboot,
time.
the reboot is so much better until the ending, in my opinion. The reboot is just amazing until you get like 2-3 episodes before the end, and then they just fall flat on their face. And it's
Because
like,
it was
why are
the
you
end and
doing
they-
that?
they
Don't
didn't
do
know
that.
what to
Don't
do.
that. Don't. Yeah.
Well, see, and I remember it being. Of course, I don't remember the first one being big, but the second one had a huge following to it.
Yeah. It's very
And,
addictive.
You know,
And again, it's set up like one big long story. So with tiny episodes in between,
right.
you know, or tiny episodes in order to finish off the allotment or the episode.
Right.
Yeah. But the whole story moves as a.
Well,
as
I
a
just
group.
felt if
It's
we were
good.
going to talk about space opera, I better bring that up because it was a huge thing. A lot of Bears Beats and Battlestar Galactica, and that's kind of a thing.
Sure.
So anyway.
Well, hold on. One more thing here is if we can't say if we're not talking about the Book of Revelations, how about Starship Troopers?
Starship
Space
Troopers.
opera.
Also good.
It comes
space
up
opera
as
or
an
not?
example of space opera. I kid you not. So
That's really from the era that it was written in. That Heinlein went on to do a lot of more intellectual stories, but he had a point with Starship Troopers that who was it, Verhoeven, whoever did it had actually unlike Jodorowsky had actually read the book, knew what it was about, and drove those points home in the movie. That's what makes the movie so
do
unique.
not read the book expecting what you see in the movie.
Yes,
it's tonally
very
they're
different.
two completely different things.
I read Hyland's book, The Cat Who Walks Through Walls,
and
he has it's very French.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I can imagine Starship
He gets
Troopers
out there a little bit.
Stranger
Yeah.
in a Strange Land.
Yeah.
Another one.
We had to read that in high school.
the movie wasn't good, but it was fun.
Well,
the movie
I don't think
was.
Go ahead.
It's good the way the David Lynch Dune is. It's Flash Gordon.
I will give you
it's
that.
supposed to be ridiculous. It's this absolutely insane satire watching beautiful people be destroyed.
If it has Casper Van Dien in
Yeah.
it, don't take it seriously.
It's one of the few movies too that if you catch it on like a cable channel that's showing movies late at night, you turn it on, you'll sit there and you'll watch the rest of it just because it's that good.
It is.
I'm gonna
it
tell
is
you
just
this.
so over the top.
He doesn't have much room to talk because he made me watch it. That's how I saw that movie.
Who?
So, Jared.
Did I?
Yes. And I did not understand that it's basically satire at the
Yeah.
time. I just thought it was
Well,
a ridiculous
that's all
movie.
of Verhoeven's.
Yeah.
Same guy did RoboCop.
Yeah.
I was going to
it's
say,
all
sit and watch
satire.
RoboCop and then
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
That's
But
a
I
good
love
double feature
RoboCop.
right there.
I love RoboCop.
You'd love Starship
Also a
Troopers
product of its
also. You
time.
just have to see it in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
Well,
buy
Casper
that
Van
for
Diem has kind of
$1.
always
You have
been.
to, because the thing is that you really have to be going in there, accepting the over the top elements.
Yeah,
I get that.
Because it's a goof on propaganda, on the war machine, on everything, and it's just.
I think I would get. I think I
I
would
love
get
the
it better now
propaganda
than I
news
did then.
breaks.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah,
propaganda
yeah.
news breaks in that film. were
Yeah,
genius.
yeah. I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
Kid
there's a
holding
lot
up
of
a big
there's a lot of
gun.
genius in that film. Yeah,
Hey, it kept Neil Patrick Harris's career alive. So you got to.
Yeah.
give him that.
Yeah, that reignited his career, I think.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, he was kind of
Doogie
behind the
Howser.
scenes. You didn't see him, right? So that's why I remember seeing him in next. So
Yeah.
It was in between Doogie Howser and Harold and Kumar.
Yeah.
So
My
so
gosh.
kind of kept it on a lifeline.
Yeah.
which he's supposed to be doing a villain in Doctor Who, I hear. Which that would
I
be
saw
like
that.
the first American, huh?
who?
Tho-
not the
Neil
first
Patrick
American.
Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
It's not the
Has there
first
been an
in
American?
Doctor Who.
Where'd you see that? They already picked a new doctor.
No, not the
Well,
new
no,
Doctor.
there's
He's a villain.
pictures of him
Oh,
online. He's got different outfits on too.
I just imagine, what is it, Doctor Evil's
Lemony
blog,
Snickets.
or whatever the case is.
Lemony
Well, there's
Snicket.
Doctor Horrible. That
Doctor
also-
Horrible. I
Dr.
couldn't remember the
Horrible.
name of it. Doctor Horrible's musical blog or whatever
Mhm.
it was.
Single,
It was Joss
something
Whedon.
Sing-along.
blog.
Sing along blog. Yeah, back before anybody really went to
That was
internet.
comedy opera.
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go. It was a musical. Anyway, Randy, tell them where we can find you, sir.
You can find me tomorrow night on the Zimcast at 9 p.m. on Ragin 2 Network, maybe on Facebook. We don't know. But definitely on the Ragin 2 YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications if you can. Then on Sunday mornings, we'll be on Sunday Funnies, where we try to put the fun back in funny books and talk about the light, hopefully more lighthearted side of this fantastic art form known as comics. So I hope to see you there. Other than that, you can reach me on Facebook. You can try to reach me on Twitter, but I don't go over there very often. I have a link tree, I think. Arrow Comics 4.0 has a link tree, thanks to Nita, and Instagram page and all sorts of stuff. That more stuff will be on there eventually, because I'm in the middle of working on. I'm like in the middle of 2 books right now. I just have to finish one and then get on the other one. So
All right.
stay tuned. Yeah.
Daphne, let us know where we can find you.
Oh, you can find me at my main portfolio site at eagleworks.com. Well, right here. Eagleworks, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. But I mostly post to Facebook if you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress and updates about my campaigns and all that stuff. You can also find me on my own channel at Daphne Lage Art, which also streams through Ragin 2, although I'm skipping my live stream tomorrow because I actually had to do a lot to kind of control this cold that's trying to take over. So but anything for the audience. So you can catch me Friday. So hopefully by Friday I'll be much better. You can catch me on Friday with Nita at 11 a.m. on Ragin 2, the vlogs as well. So, eagleworks.com and links in the show notes below.
That's right. Links in the show. All right, Mitch, let them know
Yes.
where you're at, sir.
You can find me at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios, where you can find links to my website, my Facebook, and my online comics.
All right. Jared, do you want them to find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Jared Lockhart 80. That's where I'm at. Yeah. There you
All
go.
right. There we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to play one more bump and then our special word of the week. And
Ooh.
we'll see y'all next week, where again, we'll be talking about Grimm's Fairy Tales, where we'll talk about whether Happily Ever After is the first ever participation trophy. We'll find out. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
See ya. Take care, everybody.
It's a big mystery. None of the wise men could tell me what it means.
Wise men, for sure. Wise guys, you mean? What do they know? Here, let me take a look.
You can read it.
No, I was just clearing my throat.
Over.